Last data type I want to talk about is strings. What are strings? Well, so far we've looked at numbers like 3 and 314. We've put them in variables. We've done different types of variables, right? We did what? N equals 3. We could do something like pi equals 3.14. Obviously, this is an integer. This is a float. And so we have those data types. But what if I want to do something like name? And what if I want to put in my name and I want to say Greg? I want to do something like that in Python. We need a new data type. And the way we do that is single quotes or double quotes work, by the way, but technically the answer is single quotes. Technically, we use single quotes to designate a string. If you have single quotes around text, you're basically defining a string, and it's like double work as well, but you can do operations on strings. So now I have a data type thing somewhere. Forgot where I stuck it. So now we have another data type. When we say data type, what we really mean is, what is that expression? What is that what type of information is that expression? Or what type of information does that variable hold? And the string holds text. Integers, whole numbers, floating point numbers are in floats. And so they all hold a very specific type of information. And some examples of strings. Single letter. A name. 1, 2, 3. If it's surrounded by single quotes, it's a string. Without single quotes, it would be an integer. Just remember that one. And I may start using something other than idle, just so I don't lose everything at the bottom. So if I do a name in single quote, there's our CSE department chair, Soren. I put him in a variable. And I print out the variable. Notice it has the single quotes. If I do something like Greg, it still has the single quotes when I print it out. Let me put Soren back to where he was. And then I want to do another string, and I'm going to let's put my name in this other string. And I actually don't like underscores. You can. I prefer, like I said, camel case. So now I have two names, both stored in different variables. I can use the print command to print out a name, because the print command, notice the difference though. The print command didn't have double quotes around it. This double quote, when we do this in the console, is returning the value of the variable or the value of the expression. But when we print, it's actually printing to the console. It's kind of sending a message to the console saying, hey, print this value out. Versus these other ones are just echoing back what's going on. So this is actual computer output versus this is just helpful stuff. When you're writing a Python program, if you want to see the value of something, you got to print it. So print, what about hello plus names? We call that actually concatenation. We took two strings, added them together, hello, and then the one held Soren. If I wanted a space in between their names, you could put a space in there at the end of that text there. Now it says hello space Soren. So again, what is concatenation? Concatenation is we took a string and then we basically appended another string to it. In this case, that string was held inside of a variable called name. We could even do this directly here and say hi plus hi space plus other name. So you can say hi Greg. So we could also do that directly, or we could have done hello Soren directly, just like we printed. But notice again the difference between printing them out versus just writing them in the console. So when you add two strings together, it's concatenation. It just appends one string to the end of the other. And we could concatenate two variables together. But what you cannot do is you cannot concatenate an integer to a string. It says you can only concatenate strings, not int to string. And so we have an error if we try to concatenate with strings. So it doesn't make sense that we're trying to add a number to a string. We can only do strings. Later on, we'll figure out how to convert numbers to strings and strings to numbers and back. And so we could do that. But for now, you can't do that. So concatenation requires two strings. That's the plus operator. If you use two variables, they better both be strings. If they're one of them is something else, it's not going to work. And so we're going to be using a lot of strings. It's a fundamental data type in all programming languages. In fact, there's only a couple out there where it's like not completely defined very well, but they still have it. And it's really just a sequence of characters. A string is just a sequence of characters defined inside of single quotes. So that's all a string is. And it's a fundamental thing because humans don't read numbers very well either. We really need to have those characters, those text.